Hey guys, welcome back to the Run It Back podcast. We are back for the second time this season, for the second race of the season at Imola. The Imola Grand Prix just finished today. Today's Sunday as we're recording. It was an incredible race. Alongside with me, as always, is Wes. How are you doing today, Wes?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a good race weekend. 3 weeks. It's quite irregular, but
Right.
I think it was worth the wait.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 weeks was this was really long. I thought it was gonna be like a triple header, but then again, we were supposed to have China in between these races. So, I'm kind of glad, we had that wait because then kind of had to build up for this race. It was pretty good. I think it lived up to the hype.
I thought so, but now I have a lot of reservations about uh, the track. Not that it's the track's fault,
Right, right.
but I now have a lot of reservations on just about everything about Formula One. I guess this is what happens when you watch it for a good 2.5 seasons. You're now starting to see, or at least I'm starting to see all the flaws and the differences and
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
consequences of all this shit that goes on in the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, let's get right into it. So starting off, we want to start off the show by just pretty much highlighting the qualifying results, which was to many people like it shocked many people actually, right? Because initially I predicted that Red Bull was gonna have a 1-2 in this in qualifying because Red Bull generally built a much better car when it comes to downforce tracks. They usually have the most downforce tracks. Maybe last season was the only case where it wasn't. But Lewis Hamilton steals pole position. Next to him was Sergio Perez, who out for the first time I've ever seen Max Verstappen get out qualified by a teammate, maybe aside from Daniel Ricciardo, and Lewis Hamilton's teammate all the way down in eighth, Valtteri Bottas. But yeah, any general kind of ideas or like what was your reaction, Wes, for the qualifying?
Well, if you're gonna be in the group of in better machinery,
Yeah.
Max is better, bullshit. Just check what happened there.
Well, that's the thing,
And
right?
not
I mean,
and,
yeah.
and
Go
not
ahead.
to mention, Viva McLaren. Holy hell. Because of that stupid track limit, fucking Lando Norris could have been on the first row.
Yeah, yeah, could have, right? And but that's the thing, right? Like I've always thought that Lewis was. I mean, he's hailed as the king of qualifying, right? No one has ever had more poles. No one even comes close. Schumacher doesn't even close when it comes to qualifying, other than Lewis Hamilton. And so I didn't really have a doubt. I thought that Lewis could steal pole, but like I thought it was very unlikely because they just didn't seem like they were the fastest package. Um, but I've always said that Max Verstappen's strength isn't in qualifying. I've always thought it was in the race. And so I think he was out qualified by Daniel Ricciardo when he was in the team. But at that point, Verstappen was still young. But yeah, I agree with you, Wes. Right, like Lewis Hamilton was able to steal pole, and I think it shows his greatest strength. I think it's qualifying.
Well, I also want to counter argue that I think we're all falling in love with the notion that Red Bull looks like to be the better car
Mm,
this season.
yeah.
And, you know, a qualifying session like that just showed that it's not bulletproof.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Not to mention that Red Bull had issues on Friday.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So
So
yeah.
the thing about that between I guess this season and when Mercedes was just running away with everything is that Mercedes never seemed to have an issue that was worrisome that early in the season,
Right. Right.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But for Lewis to say pole or steal pole, say for someone to say Lewis stole pole, I think it just goes to show, yeah, like you said, it's his greatest strength, but at the same time, it's like he's able to find more in that car than the normal person.
Right.
Like, don't forget, it's not a distant second;
Yeah.
it's a
Absolutely.
close second.
It's a close second, but like I'm glad that you pointed that out because I'm looking at the timesheets for qualifying, and one pole through 13th position, which was Sebastian Vettel, was within 1 second, and pole to eighth place, which was Valtteri Bottas, was split between half a second. So, like, the field is bunching up, and we're starting to see like who are the alpha males when it comes to qualifying. We're starting to see like the breed that should belong in the front of the grid.
For sure, absolutely. And it really is interesting though, not to take anything away from Max and Red Bull's efforts, to see them a lot closer and perhaps ganging up on Lewis.
Right,
So
right,
that way we kind of see that 2-on-1 action.
right.
But then again, without mentioning what happened today in the race, of course, you can say Red Bull was in a pretty disadvantageous position because Lewis. It's been historically noted that Lewis can beat two cars by himself.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely. So yeah, I absolutely agree. And yeah, pretty much that's pretty much the front of the qualifying. Now, were there like was there anyone that surprised you the most, Wes, when it came to qualifying? Someone that like you thought was gonna do well, maybe didn't do so well, or maybe there's someone that surprised you.
surprises, I'm gonna give that to Nicholas Latifi.
Okay.
Yeah, he had at one point a better time. I think that was in Q1. No,
Yeah, yeah,
he
he
had a,
did.
he had
Yeah.
a better time than
Then
Russell.
Russell
Then
just got
Russell
by.
Russell
Yeah.
Russell was kind of like, what the hell is going on here? Only
Right.
for Russell to finish the job later. But
Right. Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it goes to show. I think the blips of uh, what Williams can do.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
now that it's coming to mind, I hate to pick on him again, but Vettel, what the hell is going on? Aston Martin, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're gonna get to Aston Martin a little bit later, but yeah. Yeah. I mean, did you have any more surprises?
No,
Okay. Okay.
can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. For me, I think the biggest surprise was three. Three drivers. Pierre Gasly came out of nowhere, stole fifth. Like literally. Oh, I could also give props to Leclerc. Props to Charles Leclerc getting fourth. But yeah, Pierre Gasly came out of nowhere. You know, we knew that Alpha Tauri was very fast in this track. This is their practice track. This is where they pretty much developed the car at Imola, and yeah, it was surprising to me because he was at one point like he was pretty much he looked like he was gonna get top three in qualifying. So that was to me that was shocking. Just how fast that package, the Alpha Tauri package is. My second guy is Esteban Ocon. This is the first time I've seen Fernando Alonso get out qualified by a teammate. Now, of course, Fernando Alonso, he just returned to F1, but if Bahrain was any indication, I thought that Ocon was still getting to grips with the car, but Fernando Alonso looked like he was already at full speed with the car at Bahrain. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. And other than that, my boy Yuki Tsunoda. I really wanted Yuki Tsunoda to out qualify Pierre Gasly. I know it seems a little bit far fetched to a lot of people, but I have a lot of faith in Yuki Tsunoda. So I really hope that one day he will out qualify Pierre Gasly.
Did he not out qualify him in Bahrain?
He did not. He did not. He
Okay,
out finished him. He finished him. He finished in the points. Pierre dropped out of the points.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, I mean yeah, I don't think it's that. Uh, I mean it's a possibility. I think he could steal some every now and then, but for him to say yeah, it's a or for him to believe that it's far fetched, I wouldn't go that far.
No, no, no. Yeah, I
I think
wouldn't go
it's
that
pretty
far.
realistic,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
especially since Red Bull drivers seem to do well in Toro Rosso anyway, or AlphaTauri. But
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, we'll see. It's a long game.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, let's move on to pretty much the race, right? I was excited for this race. I was completely excited for this race. My brother Jordan was really excited for this race. So I got up really early, watched the grid walk as they're going through, and surprise, surprise, we were told that it was just only going to rain in the morning, and yeah, it was raining during the race, during the beginning of the race at least, and this just pretty much threw everything out of the window, right? Because we thought, well, yeah, like Lando or like I think it was yeah, everyone except for Max Hamilton, yeah, Max and Hamilton and Bottas were gonna start in mediums. Everyone else was gonna start in softs. So I thought that was gonna be interesting, but now everyone had to start in intermediates.
Yeah, intermediates, and I think
Some wets.
some wets, yeah,
Yeah,
full
yeah,
wets. And then of course we had a little ups in the beginning. Vettel had to start in the pit lane
yeah, yeah.
because his team couldn't get his stuff done by the 5 minute mark.
Right.
Um, and then of course in the formation lap we had a little spinneroo with I believe it was Signs, right, that
He
did it.
did. Yeah, he did. He spun
So,
out.
but I mean, granted, it wasn't anything like life threatening
No,
for the
no, no.
car
Yeah,
at least.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they were able to get back on, and then I think what really just turned the tide was the start and pretty much after maybe 3 turns.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that you pointed out Science's mishap like on the way to the grid in formation lap, because the drivers were allowed to drive to the grid, like the starting grid. And Fernando Alonso actually binned it. He actually went to the wall, broke his front wing, so he had to go back to the garage, change the front wing, and then he was allowed to get on the grid. But yeah, Sebastian Vettel and Stroll, they had problems with their brakes. They were overheating, pretty much melted the entire brake pad or the pretty much the brakes. So yeah, I mean things are not looking good for Aston Martin. Everything seems to be falling. When it rains, it pours for them pretty much. But yeah, so top three results for the race: Verstappen, Hamilton, and Norris. Wes, any surprises to you? Anything that you just wanna air out?
I did say I think a few shows ago back in season one that I thought Lando was gonna win a race, right?
Yeah, this was the closest one.
This is probably the closest I'm gonna get.
Yeah, yeah,
But then, in terms of surprises, I am surprised that Checo Perez failed to defend his position.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Um, and I'm also surprised to see a Mercedes just blown the fuck up.
Well, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, let's start with Lando Norris, right? What a surprise. We knew that from the
Oh, and the
qualifying session.
start, and the
Yeah.
freaking start.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Probably in the bottom echelon of starters, he gets a good start, and that caused him to win.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. Max Verstappen doesn't really get the best starts. He usually stalls out, or something happens with his engine that he has to drop back a little bit, and it's frustrating to watch Verstappen sometimes start because we usually believe that he's gonna have a good weekend and then he gets a bad start. But this week he had an amazing start, and he had that little incident with Hamilton, which I think it was fair. He just kind of ran out of road. But yeah, back to Lando. Lando, we knew was fast throughout the week. We just didn't know how fast he was. Pretty much, yeah. He pretty much went all the way down. Not all the way down. I think he went 10th, P9, P10th, and then climbed all the way back up to P3. Incredible drive. Hamilton pretty much made mistakes throughout the race, but managed to pick himself back up, embarrassing Bottas. Because there was a moment where Bottas
Well,
could,
I
yeah.
don't know if embarrassed Bottas. I think Bottas embarrassed himself.
Well, yeah,
Lewis
absolutely.
embarrassed Lewis embarrassed himself by binning it on before Bottas's car blew up. But then that was a freaking recovery drive,
That
and
was a
that goes to
recovery
show
drive.
how.
Yeah,
I mean, not to make it about Lewis Hamilton, but that goes to show how great he is.
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely.
Because if Lewis was a pedestrian driver, he would have stayed at P9.
That's the thing, right? It's because Valtteri Bottas was stuck behind Stroll, Lawrence Stroll, the entire race, before he had his shunt, and
Lance.
yeah, Lance Stroll, yeah.
I mean,
And
his dad should be out there. Just saying.
yeah, oh yeah, Lance Stroll, Lance Stroll. Wow, see how much I
No,
mistake
his
these
dad
things.
should be out there because Lance needs a little bit more help than Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah. And so what do you call it? So pretty much, yeah, Bottas was stuck behind Lance Stroll throughout the entire race, and he couldn't get past. There was a moment where Toto Wolff went into Bottas's radio, telling him to pick it up because he's in a Mercedes, stuck in P8, where he should be fighting the Red Bulls. He should be fighting with Lewis Hamilton. He should be the, at least the gunner for Lewis Hamilton. But and then when the race restarted after the red flag, guess who was in front of Lewis Hamilton? Stroll, and he just got by him in one lap. I think that just tells the difference between Hamilton and Bottas.
Right,
Yeah,
right. I told my dad, who was watching with me this morning, he didn't believe Hamilton, but and also my dad is the ultimate Hamilton hater for more than one reason that I cannot mention on this air. But he thought that Hamilton was going to be stuck at P9. I was like, no,
no,
those cars ahead of him are too slow.
yeah,
Even
absolutely,
even Ferrari is
right,
too slow for Lewis.
yeah.
And then he then my dad ended up giving up on the race. And then when he came back and checked in on me, I told him, yeah, Hamilton finished second.
Yeah.
And he was like, what the F just happened? I was like, yeah, greatness. That's what the F just happened.
Well, that's the thing, right? Me and Jordan were watching. Me and my brother Jordan were actually watching the race, and he actually put a lot of money into Lando Norris finishing P2, and so he was surprised he was gonna win like a ton of money because, I mean, Lando Norris he was about to finish P2, and then I told him like I don't think so because Lewis Hamilton will do anything he can to make sure he gets P2. He wasn't gonna win the race because Max just pretty much flew off to the distance, never to be seen again. Lewis Hamilton knew that if he finishes second, it was gonna be equalized on points, and not even that. He got the fastest lap, so he's up by 1 point. But yeah, I mean, this is what Lewis does, right? Like he will
I mean,
recover whatever he can.
right, right. And, he'll do it in a fashion that'll just be like, damn, how did that guy not win?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
But I also want to add, too, that look, when Red Bull got the P1, they didn't look all that happy.
yeah.
I mean, I understand it was a stressful race, but then again, when you look at the final tally,
Right.
they're still behind Mercedes on both counts
Well, yeah, absolutely.
because
Right.
Lewis stole that fastest lap
That
point to
fastest
keep them
lap.
1 point ahead going into Portugal. And then because Checo finished out of the points, they couldn't overtake Mercedes in the constructors. And
Yeah.
Mercedes only had one car finishing,
Right.
and basically it's also a weird situation because two of their three drivers got knocked out of the race
Well, that's the
by
thing,
each
right?
other,
Yeah,
by
yeah,
each other on top of that.
yeah. Which was pretty much the number one don't do at Mercedes. But it's funny that you say that because I feel like the luckiest guy in the world right now is either Carlos Sainz because there was so many times he almost crashed into the wall, almost finished his race, but he managed to finish P5. But other than that, Valtteri Bottas, right? Because Valtteri Bottas, he's gonna get judged pretty much based on where Perez is, right? Wherever Perez finishes, Bottas should be really close or right by him,
Or
and
ahead.
yeah, or ahead, right? He should be ahead, but that's the thing, right? Like because Perez hasn't been finishing the races, he hasn't been finishing in the points. I think Bottas is getting off easy because Perez was about to score some massive points, probably overtake Mercedes in the championship, and then the pressure on Bottas would have been massive.
I don't know, Joy. Something tells me that once the race was over, Toto went back to his office and started looking at pictures of GR.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Despite GR getting into the incident with Bottas, and GR slapping Bottas basically across the halo slash head.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Me and Jordan were talking, and I was saying that if you're Toto Wolff, you want pretty much the best two drivers that you can get that puts pressure on Max Verstappen, right? Two drivers that you know that could pretty much fight for the win. It's not just going to be Hamilton fighting against Max Verstappen, and then wherever Bottas is, he might not even be close to Perez. So I was like, man, don't you just wish like if you were Mercedes, you had a Grant like a George Russell that would be there to pick up the win, or maybe even just win outright on pace.
They could do something crazy. There is 21 races left in the year, if I'm not mistaken.
And Bottas, for me, hasn't proved anything this season. He it proves that Hamilton is just on a different cloth.
Well, I think you can also make that case for all the Mercedes drivers
Right.
that are on the current grid. So I'm also including Ocon,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I don't know what the hell happened to Bottas. Something just yeah, something did not look right there. And
Yeah.
and then he's also lucky. I know this is kind of unrelated, but he's also lucky that Leclerc and Ferrari haven't really overcame the hurdle yet.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's the thing, right? Like because McLaren and Ferrari are breathing on the necks of Mercedes and Red Bull, you would think that at least one of the backup or one of the gunner drivers for the Red Bull and Mercedes should pick it up. They know that these are massive points that are gonna decide the championship. You know, it's interesting.
Something tells me that somewhere out there in Germany, Alex Albon's punching the air, telling people, "I told you so."
All right, yeah, exactly. What's interesting is that uh Sergio Perez when he spun out towards the end of the race, that's exactly where Albon spun out last season in Imola. So I mean, that second seat may be cursed for Red Bull.
Hey, you said it, not me. I think that second seat also is detrimental at Mercedes too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Unless there is a guy that is fit enough to overcome all, uh, I don't know, all bad luck, right? I believe that's George Russell. But yeah. Any surprises, Wes? Any surprises that you would say?
Surprises: the two Mercedes drivers hit each other again. I mean, but it's not Rosberg or
It's not.
Hamilton.
Yeah,
It's Bottas and Russell, and it's crazy to see that. Like I said earlier, that Mercedes just blown the f up.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It just
Absolutely.
looks so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Bottas did not look good. This is not a good week that because he was stuck behind Stroll, and Stroll is, I mean, he's no slouch, but he's not in a Mercedes car, right? Well, someone to argue that he is, but I don't know. For me, the biggest surprise was Daniel Ricciardo. Yeah, he did move up. I think one place. He moved up one place from his qualifying position. Um, but he didn't light it up like Lando did. I would have loved to see him split the Ferraris at least. He just didn't have the pace. I don't think he likes this track. I think he said it in some interviews. He doesn't really enjoy this track, and so yeah, I think that's my biggest. That's good. He got six though. Those are some massive
Can,
points.
can we have a contender, a surprise contender for surprises? No,
Yeah,
no double, not to be double about it, but Sebastian Vettel's hair.
I mean,
It's somewhat back,
it's
but it's not
somewhat back.
helping him.
It's not. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? I don't think he was going bald. I just think well, okay, yeah, he is going bald. He needs.
No, no, I told you he must have tried to cut his own hair, made a mistake, and was like, ah, damn it.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck. Oh, he needs whatever Lewis Hamilton has. Because that is the greatest comeback in F1 history. Is that hairline? No, I'm
Well,
just
I
playing.
don't. But isn't that surgical though.
Transplant. Yeah, might
No,
as
I don't
well.
think I don't. No, I don't think Vettel had made that or they needs that. I think, like I said, he was trying to cut his own hair because barbershops are closed in a pandemic.
Yeah,
Or maybe he asked his wife to cut his hair. He or she made a mistake
you're
and
right.
was like, ah, shit, I gotta.
But you couldn't just cut it all off. I mean, just go bald. Bald is beautiful.
I mean, as long as that hair is obviously still showing signs of
Oh
growth.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, you kind of really can't.
yeah.
I mean, and
He's not
plus,
gonna give it up.
sometimes like it's also a chore to just maintain
Oh
that,
yeah,
especially if your hair is
absolutely.
still healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
But
that's
yeah.
besides the point.
But yeah, absolutely. But yeah. Thank you for the surprises, Wes. Probably, yeah. I think that covers the surprises. I think Sergio Perez was quite a big surprise too. I thought he was gonna be at least P3, but I mean, hey, our boy Lando Norris gets P3.
If
Go
anyone
Lando.
betted on Nikita Mazepin not finishing, too bad. You just lost money.
You could bet that. I mean, Nikita Mazepin is gonna spin. Mazepin. I just called him Mazepin. Nikita Mazepin is gonna spin in the race no matter what, and he did. Now he didn't. He wasn't like taken out, but like he spun it on his own, and that's pretty much a guarantee now in these races.
The guy fucking sucks. Just telling you right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Go Mick Schumacher. But yeah,
Haas needs to clean house. I don't care.
yeah.
MSC is on the team.
Well, that's the thing, right? They're gonna clean the house. Even Haas is gonna leave. Even Gene Haas is gonna leave. It looks like so.
Good, good. Go and don't come back.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, I have my own thoughts about that, but that should be another episode. But yeah. Other than that, Wes, other big story. You mentioned them before. Aston Martin versus Formula One versus the FIA. Aston Martin is looking to legally sue Formula One and the
You can't.
FIA.
You can't. You could illegally sue.
Oh well, okay, okay. That'd be interesting. That'd be something to watch, right? So they want to sue Formula One and the FIA because they believe that the new regulations, that pretty much the regulations for this year are the floors, right? They pretty much cut the floors in half, and the two teams that have a massive disadvantage is Mercedes and Aston Martin. And Aston Martin believes that these regulations were targeted to slow these two teams down. Um, and yeah, it's quite yeah. I mean, for me, in my opinion, a cheating team. You know, you could. A lot of people are saying like a cheating team, crying wolf. There's not a lot of sympathies for them throughout the paddock. But yeah. Any thoughts, Wes? Aston Martin thinking of suing Formula One and the FIA.
Those cases, from all the law classes I've took, even though none of them talked about Formula One teams or sports in general, cases like that generally don't win.
Oh yeah, that's exactly
So I'm
what they
not,
said.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet here. I have low expectations.
Yeah,
That's it.
absolutely. That was the talk of the paddock. Like, the FIA and Formula One make the rules. Everyone has to abide by them. It's not, yeah, it's nothing like personal against these two teams. But yeah, I agree with you, Wes. I don't think it's gonna. If Aston Martin does go to court with this, I don't think they're gonna win. But I mean, they just want to prove a point, I think. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the race. I certainly did. I mean, 2021. The first two races have been incredible. They've been pretty close. And yeah, I can't wait for Portimao for the Portuguese Grand Prix in May 2nd, May 2, in the week of May 2. And so yeah, I can't wait. But yeah, any closing thoughts, Wes?
Bienvenidos a Miami.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we are heading to Miami in Hard Rock Stadium. This is gonna be very similar to when we raced in Caesar's Palace. in the 80s, it's gonna be in the car park. So that'll be interesting. Hopefully it's a much better. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a much better track. But yeah, I can't wait.
Me too, man. 2 races in the USA. Let's go.
Hey, this might be the one that we go to if it's cheaper. But yeah,
Hey, I heard Florida's nice.
yeah, absolutely. I think they're gonna try to make it in June, so nice in that time of the year.
Yeah, I think they're trying to like put it after Montreal.
Yes,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so it
absolutely.
would it would be, yeah, I think it would be summertime, and then of course you return in the fall with
With
Texas.
Texas, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Run It Back podcast this week. And yeah, we will see you guys back in the week of May 2nd. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you the next race.
Totally keep those tires within the lines, folks.
You might get second place. So yeah, keep it on